Okay, this is Orlando Wilson, and what I want to talk about in this video is, to me, the basis of self-defense. Now, when people train for self-defense, most people, be it firearms, they go to the gun range, they shoot targets. So unarmed self-defense, everybody's practicing striking techniques, control techniques, grappling, etc. Excuse me. But you have to get to the point of being able to use your firearm or use a technique, strike a target, etc. To me, to start off with, you have to be aware of your environment. To me, self-defense starts with assessing your environment, understanding the opposition's body language, and making an opening so you can strike the target, strike the opposition, deploy your firearm, use your firearm, etc. I tell people, you always want to be aware of your environment. You always want to be aware of anything in your environment that could trip you up, cause you problems. For example, think about now where you are. If you had to get involved in a confrontation now, be it armed or unarmed, if it's unarmed, can you defend yourself? Are you going to have to stand up? Is the floor slippery? Do you have the right shoes on, or are you going to stand up, slip, and end up on the floor and end up being stomped on? Is there anything in your environment that you could be pushed over? Or can you be pushed downstairs? Can you be pushed over a table? Can you be pushed over a chair? And likewise, is there anything in your environment that if somebody's attacking you, you can push them downstairs, you can push them over a table? What in your environment can you use as an improvised weapon? Anything can be used as an improvised weapon as long as you see it as being a weapon. What in your environment could be used as a weapon against you? This is all basic stuff. You have to be aware of what's going on around you. You know what? One of the worst places for fights or scuffles is toilets. And I've been in quite a few scuffles in toilets, bathrooms over the years, and generally everybody ends up on the floor. You have to be very careful because the floors are tile. Tile, when it's wet, you're going to slip. Basic. I know one guy who screwed his leg up big time because he got involved in a scuffle on a marble floor in a very, very nice location. He ended up trying to grab somebody, slipped on a Tazo floor, twisted his leg big time. And that's something simple. He's a very capable guy, but wrong shoes, slippery floor. He ended up screwing himself up big time. And he couldn't control the person he was trying to control because his leg was gone. Simple things. Understanding body language. I tell people, if somebody's approaching you, assess their body language. What's their body language saying? Are they passive? Are they aggressive? Are they drugged? Are they nervous? And again, I got other videos about body language, how you should read body language, etc. This is a basic if you're involved in close protection, door work, etc. If you're concerned about your personal security, you should understand how to read other people's body language. You also want to think about what body language you're putting across. Is it passive? Is it aggressive? Sometimes you want it to be passive, maybe lure the opposition into a state of overconfidence. Or maybe you want to be aggressive in some way. In some situations, being aggressive can de-escalate. In other situations, being aggressive can escalate. Depends on the situation. You have to understand situations. If you're carrying a weapon, you got to think about, okay, can you access that weapon? How can you access that weapon? What can you use as a distraction to access that weapon? Because again, if you're carrying a firearm, a knife under a jacket, under a coat, can you deploy it? Can you get to it? Is the opposition going to see you going for that weapon and counter you and strike you before you get to that weapon? Even from unarmed techniques, okay, you have to set up the punch, you have to set up the kick. I'm big on distractions. What can you use as a distraction? And again, distractions is a topic of its own. But again, to me, there's a lot more to self-defense before you get to the point of striking, before you get to the point of using your knife, using your firearm, etc. Firearms especially, you have to be able to deploy them. And a lot of people, the way they carry, the way they train, they're unable to deploy the firearm at close quarters. Why? Well, I've got it in other videos. If you grab hold of somebody's right arm, if you shake somebody's hand and
Generally, everybody shakes the hand, strong hand to strong hand. Once somebody's shaken your hand and they got control of your hand, they got control of the hand that you use your firearm with, you use your weapon with. Could you deploy your weapon with your weak hand if somebody was shaking your hand, if somebody had control of your strong hand? That's basic stuff, but again, a lot of people don't think about it. It's okay going to the gun range and practicing, it's okay practicing bag work, sparring, etc., but you have to be able to get to the point of using those techniques. And generally the bad guys are not going to give you those opportunities. The bad guys don't play fair. They will set you up, they will sucker punch you, etc. And this is where you have to be streetwise, very, very streetwise. So always be aware of your environment, always be reading other people's body language. If you got weapons, make sure you can access those weapons. If somebody's approaching you, you want to be reading their body language and thinking about how you're going to strike them, where you're going to strike them, etc. Basics, right? Basics is difficult to put across in a video, but hopefully that makes you think a little bit. Now I've got a selection of books online specifically to do with security, also crime fiction. I got 3 books up specifically to do with close protection, and we're throwing up a lot more of these videos to cover various aspects of close protection, kidnapping, ransom, personal security, etc., etc. If you're connected with me on social media, YouTube, LinkedIn, Instagram, etc., and you got any relevant questions, please feel free to reach out. I might take some time to get back to you, but I do get back to relevant questions eventually. So be good, stay safe, stay out of trouble. And again, think about what I've spoken about in this video. It's okay knowing all the fancy martial arts techniques. It's okay being able to do good katas, etc. But on the street, you have to be wise. You have to be aware of what's going on around you. If you're not aware of what's going on around you, and if the bad guys manage to set you up, you're screwed. So that's it. It doesn't matter how good you are in the ring. You'll just get screwed up. The street's a lot different. So be wise.